Hey, welcome back to The Question, a Blog Talk Radio conversation with me, Doug Pagitt, your host. Tuesdays, where we talk about the happenings of the day, things going on, things happening in my life, your life, the life of our fabulous world. And we've got a lot going on in the news, actually. Having doing the show only once a week, it changes the level of flow of news input. But I picked up a couple of news articles that I thought were of particular interest to me, just off of the headlines, and then a few of them became even more interesting. So here's one for you. This is out of the USA Today, which, they just have the ability to find the most inane news and turn it into headlines. But this one's pretty good. The economy, they say, at the USA Today, is taking its toll on the Amish.
Bum, bum.
On the Amish. I mean, how just ironic is that? And I don't mean that Alanis Morissette kind of ironic, where she has that song where there's a whole number of things that really aren't ironic at all. They're just sort of things that happen to somebody, but there's no irony in them. But this is a little ironic to me, that here you have a community of people who are trying to live outside of the flow of the rest of society and trying to find a more simple life, and they're just getting hit hard by the economy. Now, to be fair to the story, there are a number of different Amish communities around the country, some of whom participate in jobs in the more mainstream economy, and these are the folks that are getting hit most aggressively by the economy. These are folks who work. There's a whole number of them in Indiana, around Goshen, Indiana, and they work in a number of factories there, where most of the RVs, the recreational vehicles, the large rigs on the road, are made, and almost all made in the same area. That happens a lot with industries.
The Amish?
And the Amish are the people making the big rigs. How do you like that?
That happens in most industries. They're
hiring
the Amish.
In most industries, the Amish are the people doing it. You don't know this.
All the factories.
And all the factories are full of Amish people. No, in most parts of most industries tend to organize themselves around a particular geographic location, which is sort of interesting. In fact, we had a conversation with a fellow here in Tulsa last night about that, who works for the company who provides the interlink for live feeds, news stories, big sporting events, that kind of thing. And it's here in Tulsa, and the reason it's here in Tulsa, I asked him last night during dinner, so why is it here? And of course, because he's in Tulsa, he had to first begin by thinking, well, what's the matter with Tulsa? To which I said, well, it's in Oklahoma. And that wasn't. And then he said, no. It's because they used to, the Tulsa was the center of the oil boom, and they had these oil pipelines running all over the country to deliver the oil. Well, that had changed quite a bit in how they're delivering oil. So now they have these empty pipeline. Well, not now, 25, 30 years ago, they had these empty pipelines, and they put fiber optic cables in them, kept them secure, and now are the center for that kind of communication. So it's that kind of stuff that happens. And in Goshen, Indiana, where they used to just make buggies, now these guys are making these big rigs. So I just find it to be a little wonderful that even the Amish are feeling the pain of the economy. Now, others that never really got into standardized economies are doing fine, but the Amish taking it on the chin. Okay, here's a little headline that ought to cause you to pause for a second. In China, a passerby pushes a suicide jumper.
Just helping the guy
A
out.
passerby. No, it's a little worse than helping him out. Here's how the article reads. A passerby out of Beijing, Shen Fukawa, a man heavily in debt, had been contemplating suicide on a bridge in southern China for hours, when a passerby came up, shook his hand, and then pushed him off the edge.
Oh, no.
Chen fell 26 feet onto a partially inflated emergency air cushion laid out by authorities and survived, suffering spine and elbow injuries. The passerby, 66-year-old Lei Jiangxingang, had been fed up with what he called Shen's selfish activity. Xiang Changyang said that traffic around the bridge where this guy was hanging out had been backed up for 5 hours, and police had cordoned off the area. So he says, I pushed him off because jumpers like Shen are very selfish. Their actions violate a lot of public interest. They don't really want to kill themselves. Instead, they want to raise the relevant government authorities' attention to their appeals. So the guy gets fed up with him, like, you got to be kidding me. Walks up, introduces himself, shakes his hand, and shoves him off the bridge. I mean, that is unbelievable. Fantastic. In fact, Lacey says that that the show is picking up its own little parlance with the unbelievable, and that is unbelievable. I mean, the guy's just like, look, enough is enough.
What if that was like the logic that we all ran off of? Like, oh, you said you want to do something, and you just like
You just
make
can't
some
get yourself to do it.
comment and people just throw you off the bridge.
I love it. I mean, because I'll tell you what, as a dad who has stood at the end of a high, in the pool watching a kid at the end of a high dive, like, would you just jump? Oh man, I won't tell you which one of our kids named Ruben this was about, but standing on the on the rock ledge in Maui, Hawaii, getting ready to do a little cliff jumping on our vacation, and he just stood there. I mean, it must have been 30 or 40 minutes. Just driving me. I mean, I felt like Sheng Zhong here. I wanted to just walk up and just throw him off. And then he ultimately jumped, had a great time, and now Ruben's probably going to even be on the high school high dive team because he's a fantastic diver. But it's like, dude. And here's this guy sitting in traffic is probably just like, you know what, this younger generation, these people are weak. They're going to kill. Just jump. Just jump already.
He's disappointed when he hits the partially inflated mat on the bottom.
That's the other thing. They've been there 5 hours.
It's partially? Who are these people?
Because they're all down there like I am as a dad, like saying to Shelly, he's never going to jump. Why don't we just go? Don't even fill that thing up. This clown is never going to jump.
What? Is that Sheng Zhong?
Well, Sheng Zhong's up there.
Quick, inflate it.
He's going to... Oh! Oh my goodness! Hey, after the break, we might be joined by the Indian man down the street here that owns the that owns the Quickie Mart. You ought to call it. You ought to call it. Hey, one of the things that happens when you travel around the country with somebody that you appreciate their humor, as Oscar's able to do traveling with me, is to just laugh a lot, and there have been times where it has been unbelievably funny. Okay, well
Oh, man.
that one's probably worth saving. I'm realizing that not everybody